You've seen the 1940s 1,000 times, but almost always in black and white. What you're about to see is real. Real color photographs of a tiny American town called Pie Town, New Mexico, taken in 1940. This is exactly what it looked like to be there. Main Street in Pie Town, New Mexico, 1940. Dusty road, wooden storefronts, and the quiet hum of a small town. These real Kodachrome photographs capture the colors of a vanished America. The filling station and garage where travelers stopped for gas and locals gathered. A sign for Pie Town marks the spot, a reminder of the town's famous name. The general merchandise store on Main Street was the heart of Pie Town. Shelves lined with canned goods and dry goods, a place where neighbors met. This is a real Kodachrome photograph, not colorized, capturing the warm hues of 1940. Down the street, the pinto bean warehouse stood as a testament to the town's main crop. Burlap sacks piled high, waiting to be shipped. The honest labor that sustained this tiny community. Faro and Doris Caudill, homesteaders in Pie Town, New Mexico, stand before their home in 1940. Their faces tell the story of hard work and hope in true Kodachrome color, not colorized. The home of Jim Norris, a homesteader in Pie Town, stands sturdy against the wide New Mexico sky. Its simple, resilient architecture, a hallmark of the frontier. Jack Winery, a homesteader, poses with his family in Pie Town, New Mexico. The warmth of their daily life radiates from this moment. Jim Norris and his wife, homesteaders in Pie Town, New Mexico, share a quiet moment. Their expressions reflect the determination and partnership needed to survive on the land. Les Thomas, a homesteader in Pie Town, New Mexico, stands tall, embodying the spirit of independence that defined the American homesteader. Faro Caudill draws water from his well in Pie Town, New Mexico. This everyday chore was vital for survival, the golden light of the afternoon preserved in the scene. Bill Stagg, a homesteader in Pie Town, New Mexico, holds a basket of pinto beans. The rich tones show the fruits of his labor. Bill Stagg turns his pinto beans in the field, preparing to pile them for curing. The careful process of harvesting in 1940s New Mexico. Harvesting new corn from the field of Jim Norris in Pie Town, New Mexico. The vibrant green stalks and blue sky are preserved, a testament to the land's bounty. The son of Jim Norris ties corn into bundles in Pie Town, New Mexico, learning the rhythms of the farm as a child's role in the family's work. Beside Jack Winery's dugout home in Pie Town, New Mexico, a garden thrived. In this arid land, the wineries tended their vegetables with care. Jack Winery repairs a fence built with slabs in Pie Town, New Mexico, the constant maintenance required to keep a homestead running. In their dugout home in Pie Town, New Mexico, the Faro Caudill family sat down to a simple dinner, sharing a quiet meal together during hard times. At the Pie Town Fair, the community pauses before the barbecue. Heads bow in unison, a moment of gratitude in vivid color. This is not colorized, but true Kodachrome. School at Pie Town, New Mexico, was held in the Farm Bureau building, a simple wood structure that served the community's children. These real Kodachrome color photographs capture the earnest atmosphere of learning in a small town. School children singing in Pie Town, New Mexico, their faces lit with concentration and joy. The teacher led them in song, a moment of harmony in vivid hues, not colorized or AI. In the heart of Pie Town, the white church stands against a brilliant blue sky, its steeple a beacon of hope. This is not a colorized image, it's a genuine Kodachrome photograph from 1940, capturing the quiet faith of a small community. Built by the hands of the townspeople themselves, this church was a cooperative enterprise, a testament to their unity. Inside, families gathered for worship, potlucks, and town meetings, their voices echoing in the simple wooden pews. In Mrs. Jim Norris's pantry, shelves lined with jars of home-canned goods tell the story of a family's winter preparedness. Each jar, a promise of nourishment through the cold months ahead. Mrs. Norris cradles a head of homegrown cabbage, one of many vegetables the homesteaders grew in abundance. These photographs show the vibrant green of self-sufficiency. Mrs. Bill Stagg proudly displays her state quilt, a patchwork of New Mexico's counties. Hand-stitched, it was both art and warmth against the high desert chill. The pinto bean warehouse stood as a cornerstone of the local economy. Bags of beans, dried and stored, were a staple that would see families through winter's scarcity. The grove filled with automobiles as families arrived for the Pie Town Fair. In this real Kodachrome photograph, the dust of the road still clings to the tires, a sign of the long journey from homestead to town. Crowds gathered under the trees, neighbors and strangers alike, sharing the warmth of a community brought together by the fair. The colors of their clothes are true, captured in real film. A fruit wagon stood as a marvel, oranges and apples, in a land where nothing grew but dust and sage. Outside, truckers brought these treasures, a taste of a world beyond the dry plains. Inside the exhibit hall, jars of vegetables and baskets of crops told the story of homesteaders' hard-won harvests. Each ear of corn, each tomato, a triumph over the arid soil. Men in aprons and hats worked over steaming grills, preparing the free barbecue dinner. The smell of roasting meat drifted through the fairgrounds, a promise of community and plenty. Pinto beans were served from huge pots, a staple of the homesteader's table. The steam rising from the ladle is captured, a moment of simple abundance. Crowds sat at long tables, eating the free barbecue with gusto. The laughter and chatter are silent, but the joy is palpable in every face. The men of Pie Town, New Mexico, pushed back their hats and filled their plates at the barbecue. They shared a rare day of rest, hard-working neighbors enjoying good food and each other's company. A homesteader gently fed his daughter, her small mouth open for a bite of barbecue. The tenderness in his hands is preserved in the grain of the film. A father and his children sat together, the little girl in a dress, the boy in overalls, all eating barbecue. The warmth of family is as real as the colors. Two friends met in the crowd, their hands clasped in greeting. The fair was a place to reconnect, to share news from distant homesteads. The rodeo arena came alive with dust and motion as riders competed, a moment of wild energy frozen under the New Mexico sun. Calves were driven into the corral for roping, their hooves kicking up dust. The cowboys moved with practiced ease, a dance of skill and tradition. A ribbon was tied on a calf's tail, a feature attraction that drew cheers from the crowd. The bright ribbon stands out against the dusty hide, a flash of color. At the Pie Town, New Mexico Fair, souvenir pins were handed out. A hand offers one up, a small keepsake from a day when the whole town came together. Farmers and townspeople gather in the center of Campton, Kentucky on Court Day. The dusty street buzzes with conversation under the autumn sun, a real Kodachrome moment of small-town life. More folks crowd the streets of Campton on Court Day, swapping news and gossip. These are real photographs, not colorized, capturing the vivid hues of 1940s America. In Brockton, Massachusetts, men and a woman read Christmas Eve headlines posted in the window of the Brockton Enterprise. The glow of the streetlight reflects on the glass. Men huddle around the Brockton Enterprise window, scanning the day's news. The colors make the scene feel immediate, as if you could step into that cold December evening. At the Vermont State Fair in Rutland, crowds mill about the midway. Bright banners and the excitement of a rural autumn celebration fill the scene. The Ferris wheel rose over the Vermont State Fair in Rutland, its tent spread across the grounds under a hazy sky. These slides held the warmth of a fair now past. On the Ferris wheel at the Vermont State Fair, riders pause at the top, looking out over the grounds. The blue sky, red seats are startlingly vivid. Inside a rural home in McIntosh County, Oklahoma, a square dance is in full swing. The caller's voice echoes as couples move to the fiddle's rhythm. Couples swing and promenade at the square dance in McIntosh County, the patterns of their dresses and the warmth of the lantern light captured. The orchestra plays for the square dancers in McIntosh County. Fiddle, guitar, and banjo, a time capsule of homemade music. The Grand Grocery Co. in Lincoln, Nebraska, stands on a quiet street. The real hues of the storefront and the parked cars evoke a simpler era of shopping. A seed and feed store in Lincoln, Nebraska, displays sacks of grain and tools, the practical heart of an agricultural town. Main Street in Creede, Colorado, stretches between wooden storefronts under a wide sky. The brown, green, blue are as true as memory. On a street corner in Dillon, Montana, a man in a hat stood at the heart of cattle and sheep country. The town's trading center alive with Western commerce. On Main Street of Cascade, Idaho, a few folks walk past storefronts, the quiet afternoon light of a mountain town. A boy stands beside a store window display of Christmas ornaments, his face lit by the glow. The hues make the tinsel and bulbs gleam. Another boy peers into a store window filled with toys, his hands pressed against the glass, holding the wonder of a child's Christmas. A homesteader and his children share barbecue at the Pie Town Fair. These are real Kodachrome colors, not colorized, capturing a moment of simple joy in 1940. Nearby, a father feeds his daughter at the free barbecue, the warm light of the afternoon sun on their faces, a quiet bond preserved in vivid film. The crowd gathers for the free dinner, neighbors and strangers alike, their laughter and chatter frozen in time by Russell Lee's camera. And finally, Main Street, Pie Town, dusty, quiet, ordinary. Yet in these photographs, the hues of that day still glow, as if waiting for us to return. These colors were always there. We just couldn't see them until now. These are real Kodachrome photographs taken in 1940. Nothing here was colorized. If this town felt like home, subscribe, so these colors aren't lost again.